This is Uncle Mike with my Kerbal Kareer. Let's go ahead and get started here with mission 1. And last time we left off, we had opened up more of the research and design or research and development skill tree, and we had unlocked, I think, a new command body somewhere. I thought we did, but maybe not. Nope, we were waiting. Nope, there we go. Yep, we had unlocked some batteries and solar panels and the new probodine Octo. So now we have a new unmanned control technology here. This is what we left off with in mission 0. So let's go ahead and back out here and let's go into the VAB. Let's design probably the Comrade Mark II. I think we also have some contracts that we still need to fulfill. So let's go ahead and load up the Comrade Mark I. This is the one that we had some problems with because that command module, that unmanned command module, does not have any stability augmentation system, or SAS. So I know that gave us problems. So we're probably going to redesign this and go with the Mark II. Let's see what we've got here. Contracts, we've got test the heat shield at the launch site and test the Mark 16 parachute over Kerbal with the certain parameters of altitude and speed. We probably could do that with the Comrade Mark II. So let's go ahead and work now on the design of the Mark II. So let's go ahead and make a new craft and start all over. So let's go ahead and start with this new command module, because this now has a stability augmentation system, which should make it then a lot easier to fly. So there is that. Last time we also unlocked a different type of battery, the new cylindrical inline battery, which makes it a lot nicer to put science on the outside here rather than putting our batteries also on the outside. So that makes it a lot easier. Next thing is, let's load this thing up with science. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate that so that way it's facing now 090 on the heading when we do a pitch program. So that's why I rotated the vehicle there. Now let's go ahead and load this thing up with science. We are still limited by our 30 parts. Let's see. Yep, 30 parts is all we can do. So I'm not going to need any solar panels or anything on this vehicle just because this is going to be a short flight. Let's go ahead and put on some science. 2 on each side. Fly with some redundant systems. Now I kind of want to eventually get this Mark II design into space, so I think I'm going to go ahead and put a heat shield on this, even though I don't need it for specifically what I'm doing. But let's see real quick. I'm going to go ahead and launch this because part of that contract was just testing the heat shield. So I think there's a test mode. I'm not really sure. I don't know if it means to do something with it. Let's see here. So if I come down in here, we go ahead and get rid of the nav ball. Yes, there is a test. Yes, that now has given me that contract. So very good. Let's go ahead now, recover the vehicle. So now that got us that contract. So that's really good to know. We still have the contract of testing the Mark 16 parachute. I think we'll be able to get that. So there we go. We got some science. We got some funds. Let's go ahead and see what we've got here now. Now we got the smaller one. We can also test the swivel, which is probably what we're going to put on the launch pad. Escape the atmosphere. I think that's really what I want to do here with the Mark II, with the Comrade Mark II. We've got all kinds of smaller tests that we can do, but they don't give much science. Let's go ahead and grab escape the atmosphere just so we put ourselves in a position where we almost have to launch this vehicle. So, all right, so let's go back and continue our design of the Mark II. Now that we've tested the heat shield, I think now what we can do is we can just, let's go ahead and see if we can get the Mark II here into space. That is our mission here, is to get into space here of mission 1. Yeah, I did call the very start of my Kerbal Kareer here mission 0. This is now mission 1 of my Kerbal Kareer. So, on the Xbox, you really don't have as much information, and so that's why I said even in last mission, the vehicle just needs to look right. So I am going to put now some fuel. I'm not going to just make this an orbital vehicle. This is still just going to be a ballistic flight, but just so we can get into space and then have the opportunity of recovering this vehicle. So I am going to come down here. I think this can probably be 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. Let's go try 8. We can always put it on the pad since this is an unmanned. This will be our Comrade Mark II. Not concerned then about the vehicle failing too much. I will just lose funds, but I will not kill a Kerbal. So that's good. So, all right. So how many pieces do I have? I got 10 pieces left. This is going to be a little heavier. So I remembered that we unlocked these radial parachutes. So we're going to put these here. But that I am going to make parachute comes out when I want to. And I'm going to put those right there. So that is my parachute system. I'm going to come over here now and fix staging. That's all messed up. So I want clearly the drogues to come out first. So how many pieces are we at now? 6 pieces left. Now we can separate this. We now have a heat shield, so this can hopefully survive re-entry because we will get a lot more science if we can recover the science from space. So the other thing then that we can do is we can put some communication on this. I'm also going to put 2. Put these something like that. How many do we have? We have 4 left over. Let's put some aerodynamics on this just to help us out even more. Put this on symmetrical like that. And yes, so that is the Comrade. Mark II. Not going to add a description. I can add a description later once I actually know this vehicle is going to be somewhat successful. So looks good. I like the staging and all of that. We have now saved the vehicle. Let's see if we can now go ahead and get to space here in mission 1 of Uncle Mike's Kerbal Kareer. This is again mission 1. We are pressed for space, so that's what we want to do. Don't think we're going to get to orbit, but at least let's see if we can get this up into space. So staging is go, throttle is go, SAS is go, flight we are go. We are T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine start and lift off. Well, it looks like I probably could take one fuel tank out, but it's looking good. Got SAS now, so we should have a lot more authority in our controls, a lot more stability. I'm going to start pitch program at 100 meters per second. So we're now starting our pitch program. Just fly a nice 090 heading on the equatorial. Looking good. Looks like we burned about 25% fuel. Vehicle looks very, very healthy here. I like it. And not sure, we're probably going to have to coast to space. I'm just going to continue this nice, easy. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Fly that velocity vector there. Whoop, whoop. All right, the vehicle is passing through max Q and supersonic. I think that's why it gets a little crazy there. Back off the throttle a little bit. Looking good, passing through. Of course, it's not a very good aerodynamic also. I mean, it's got that blunt that blunt head on it. So alright, gonna back off the throttle here. I don't really need that much acceleration. Everything's looking pretty good. We're definitely, I think, gonna get to space. Right, we've gone through the real thick part of the atmosphere, so I'm gonna start pitching over. Nav ball's gone ahead and switched over to orbit mode, so everything, all of our velocity is relative to orbit. Continue to back off here on the throttle. Continue our pitch program now. I'm going to go ahead and slowly now start to pitch over to the tangent. Clearly we are going to get into space. That is definitely going to be a milestone here. Or did we get into space? No, we did get into space, I think, before. I'm not really sure if we did in mission 0. Let's go ahead now and just add some tangential velocity here, so that way you can see that I'm just trying to extend until we have MECO. We're about to have MECO here. Main engine cutoff. Main engine cutoff and separation. Nice separation there. Nice and clean. We're looking good. I like this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and extend the antennas just to make sure that we've got our best chance of having some type of communication. Let's go ahead and get the science that we know we can. So open this up, grab our science for there, grab our pressure data, nice amounts of science, get our temperature science, nice amount of science. I really, really like that. That is really nice to see. Oh, what is our 200? I'm not sure what you have to be like high orbit. I don't know what that's considered. I don't think it's 200 kilometers. That's low. I'm sure it's probably like, I really don't know. I guess I could reset this, huh? Let's reset this. What does this say? In space, this is near Kerbal, so that would be, I would imagine, low. So let's go ahead and recover that. Let's check if we got, yeah, we do have some nice simple control authority here. Your still in our ascent to our apoapsis. So, or apogee if we were on the Earth, but this is apoapsis, the highest point of our trajectory. A nice view here of that. See the debris from following us, so since we pushed it away, it should hit the atmosphere and continue to, I would imagine, pass us eventually as we hit the atmosphere. Probably should have actually tried to rotate onto the normal or something and push it off to the side, because basically on a very close trajectory. Hopefully it doesn't hit us on re-entry. I'm going to go ahead and yaw the vehicle here. Into a retrograde position. Wonder if I put those antennas up there, if they will survive re-entry. Oh, all right. Well, we are getting real close here to apoapsis. When we do this, we will check, because I think we just go just a little over that. There we go. Go ahead and get that. Before we forget, let's go ahead and close the door. As soon as we get to over 200 kilometers, which is just barely going to skirt over 200 kilometers, we're going to check out this mystery goo and see if that's called something else above 200 kilometers. So there we go, 200 kilometers. And no, this is still in space near Kerbal, so does not look like anything extra. So I'm just going to go ahead and reset that so we have it for perhaps splashdown. We've got some, we escaped the atmosphere, so that is good. What else do we got? We got another escape the atmosphere milestone. And then we've broken some records here, so that gave us some more funds and more science, so we're looking good here. All right, we are now in the descent phase of the Comrade Mark 1. We've left the atmosphere. We definitely have the beginnings here of probably an orbital vehicle in the future. Probably could have flown that ascent a little more aggressive, but we are not actually pressing for orbit right now. We were just pressing for space. We have already accomplished that here in the very beginning here of mission 1 of my Kerbal Kareer. So now we do have that heat shield, which we definitely are going to need, because we are going to enter the atmosphere at a pretty good clip here. So all right, since we don't really have anything to do up here, we are going to go ahead and go into 10x warp, get down here close to when we enter the atmosphere. There we go. We are now entering the atmosphere, so let's go ahead and pitch this around. Get onto retrograde. We are going to test one antenna. Let's go ahead and retract that antenna. We're going to leave this one out as a test. See if it survives re-entry. Nope, it did not. There we go. Does not look good. Something is burning up here. Even with this heat shield. This does not look good. Well, maybe we slowed down enough. It's not going to fail. We're in some serious G-forces here, but no, it did not. Something was heating up, but it did not fail. Looked like it should have failed, but it did not. So that is good news. Would turn SAS off. The vehicle should be inherently stable. Get a nice splashdown in the water. That was a hell of a re-entry there. How much did you? That was a little intense there. I was really expecting us to lose our first Comrade Mark 1, but we did not lose the vehicle. It seemed like we kind of should have. It looked like it overheated, but I guess the heat shield was what was showing as overheating. I'm not really sure what that was all about. So we're coming in. Here come the drogues. Drogues are out. Nice descent. So the Comrade Mark II has been very successful. Down here just a little lower since we are descending at very nice, slow. So get down here 200 meters. Mains are going to get deployed. We have full canopy deployment. Look at that descent, 4.6 meters per second. That is really nice. We'll be able to get some science once we splash down here also. Good test. We're still in direct communication with the Space Center. That is good to see. And splashdown. Go ahead and get more science here while we can. All right, now let's recover the vehicle, get all of that good science. That was a nice flight. Well, the vehicle's a little unstable, aerodynamically unstable. They're passing through max Q and supersonic, so. But look at that, 75 science for that flight. So what we need to do is we need to push, try to make a vehicle, maybe the Mark III, to get into a higher parabolic or ballistic flight. That was an excellent mission. Let's go ahead and see what contracts we have. We got a bunch of little ones, but let's go to some of these. Bring 3 tourists. No, we're not into doing that kind of stuff. Test the decoupler while we orbit. Test the thumper on a suborbital trajectory over. It's pretty high. One right here. This is pretty interesting. You gotta have the Mark II radial. I think we can do that though, pretty easy. Even with the Mark II here, we just gotta launch slow when we pass through 6,000 to 9,000 meters. So 0 to 100, and just have it. So let's go ahead and grab that one. What do we have? We still gotta test this. We gotta complete that. So no problems there, I think. Let's go see what we want to get here. What I really want to get is some micro stuff. So there's a smaller engine. Structural. What do we got over here? What do we want to get to? See, these are the small engine. This is what I really want to eventually get. Propulsion systems. And also that. So we got general construction. Very interesting. That right there, I just see that little engine right there, and that would be really good to have. Nothing there. This is way out. This is big. I think I'm good there. There's docking, but no, not there. Miniaturization, that's good stuff, but it just not quite there yet. We'll get there, but not right now. It just seems as if I really need to focus on small parts. I'm looking kind of forward. That's big stuff. The propulsion system. It looks like I really need to go here with advanced rocketry. Like I get another fuel tank, which is good also. And then I can go into this small propulsion systems. This really looks like that's what I want to eventually do. So I think that's what we're going to do here. We are going to grab this right here, and we're going to buy that and that. I ain't sure what this is. These fuel adapters for connecting larger and smaller tanks. I don't think I need that yet. This Terrier should help us press to orbit. That's what we're thinking about doing. So I want to get orbit, and we also want to get higher into the distance from Kerbal. So I'm not trying to think about what I want to do here with the Mark II. She's a really nice vehicle. I don't have any more science to put on her. There's no more science to put on her. I have the storage unit, but I'm not going to use that. Everything else seems really, really good. Seems as if she's got a pretty good thrust to weight here with swivel. I need the swivel for control. First, there is something else we can think about for an upgrade, just an upgrade of the Mark II. Let's go back to the Research and Development Center, so the R&D Center. I think there was right here. These fins. All right, so so it's a winglet, so it's not controllable. So I don't really think, I don't want to spend 18 science on that right now. I just don't think I need that. We still need to press to this. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to try to do another flight and get into a higher apoapsis to get more science from further away, and maybe even transmit. Do it twice and transmit and capture the data. That way, in case the vehicle fails on re-entry. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Because we are capped on the Mark II. I think we're using the 30 components limit that we already have. So let's see, are we at 30? Right, we have one more. I don't think putting like an engine. Well, we could always try this. So we could take that off. We bought the Terrier. Put the Terrier on, and then put a coupling here. So this is completely a new design. We are now what, 1 over? No problem. No problems here. What we can do is we can just go ahead and get rid of that. We can just put a single antenna right on the top. So this will definitely be now the Mark III. So there's the Comrade Mark III. We put that little Terrier engine, and the Terrier engine, if I remember, so it has a very good specific impulse in a vacuum. So in a vacuum, it's 345, where the swivel is a 320 in a vacuum, so it's more efficient. So we will now go ahead and do this. Let's check staging, because this is not right at all. So there's main engine. We got MECO. We then have separation. The Terrier starts. Separation into the descent phase. And then drogue chutes and main. So yes, that is what we want. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's put it on the launch pad. Let's fly this. So we've added a little bit of weight and stuff, so it's probably going to launch slower. But we're still going to do our 100 meter per second before we start our pitch program to 090 heading. Just fly again equatorial. All right, so staging is go, throttle is go, SAS is go. Flight, we are go. We are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Main engine start and lift off. And yes, we have a little bit of a slower acceleration, so we're going to go ahead and just continue to accelerate to 100 meters per second. Get our fins there, our aerodynamic fins, to get more authority here. We're approaching 100 meters per second, so we are now going to go ahead and start our pitch program. Starting the pitch program. Don't want to be too aggressive with the pitch program because remember we're trying to get a much higher apoapsis on this flight. So still a ballistic flight here, the suborbital ballistic flight. Passing through max Q and I think transonic. Looking good here. Still flying the pitch program. Still trying to maintain 090 on the heading. And there we go. A better view here of everything. Everything's looking good. Back off the throttle. The 2 G's there on the G meter on the nav balls. Throttling back, everything's looking good here. About to go into orbital mode, so I'm going to start pitching over more to the horizontal, getting ready for MECO staging. Here we go, MECO staging. And there we go. Start pitching over heavily. We are looking good here. This is a really good flight. This might be an orbital vehicle here. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to go engine cutoff. We're going to go do a coast phase so we can see what we've got here. So we are really getting high, 200 right there on the mark. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually fly the vehicle here from map mode. So let's go ahead and bring up our fuel indication. So there we go. Go ahead and engine. Again, I'm going to go to 250. Just right here on. This is really looking interesting. I was not expecting to have this vehicle be able to perform like this. So there's 250. Let's go to 275. 275 engine cutoff. So a big coast phase here. Yeah, I was not expecting this at all. So that is really, really interesting. Let's go ahead and extend the antenna. So here we are. Looking really, really good. I like the flight. I'm just assuming that 250 kilometers right here. 250 kilometers above 250 is then in a higher apoapsis. That would be like a far away or high orbit or something like that. There's our debris that splashed down. It actually survived. It survived. So we're gonna have to go ahead and go into the flight center and terminate that. I don't want that debris just floating around. It might, pollute the oceans, and then, then the Kerbal environmental team will then, not like that. So we've still got some fuel in this, so we still have got some maneuverability. So once we get up here, we will do a burn at apoapsis, burn out that fuel, and see how close we can get to orbit. I don't think we're going to be able to get into orbit, but we will definitely be able to make a nicer re-entry than what we did. So because that's a real steep re-entry there. That's that probably would not end well with a trajectory like that. So, all right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and go into 10x warp. Get up here, the apoapsis closer. I see that with the ComNet has been activated up here on my HUD. So just before we get to apoapsis, I am going to now come out of warp and ComNet. There we go. Now it's showing that is our full ComNet system. There it is. That is our ComNet. Not much to look at. That green line there, that is what we are communicating with. So, right. So again, I'm going to fly this from map view. So go ahead and get into a prograde, because remember, we are going to expend this fuel. I'm not going to do a purely apoapsis burn. I'm just going to get here, prograde. I'm going to go ahead and just activate the engines, get a little bit of throttle, maybe about third throttle. Nice and easy, because I'm looking to check my fuel up there. We only got 7 units of oxidizer left. Just see what we get here. But we are not going to get to orbit. But this vehicle probably might be able to get to orbit if I just flew it better. So, all right, so let's come in here now. Let's get our science while we can. So yes, space highovers, that's it. There we go. So now we're in a new position with new science. Getting everything that we can here. Go ahead and close that up. All right, so now the vehicle is pretty much done. So let's go ahead and we might lose direct access. So we need to get this vehicle into position for re-entry. So I'm going to go ahead and go on the normal here. Normal means vehicle is yaw 90 degrees to the direction of flight. Let's go ahead and do a separation here of the second stage. So separation, there goes that. Now let's continue to yaw around here. Get on to retrograde. So at least the vehicle now is in position for re-entry. I think, do I want to save this? Does this give me more? So yeah, I'm just gonna reset that and save it for touchdown. All right, so now we just got a long coast phase here. What I'm gonna do here is go into 10x again. We start our descent phase. Go to 50x. Drop on down here. There we go. We're hitting the atmosphere. All right. Well, the vehicle now, I do not have control of the vehicle. So she is on her own. We will see what happens. So I have lost, if you look up here in the top left, I have lost control. One of the things that we're going to have to do in a, oh, this does not look good. Aerodynamically, she needs to rotate. Oh, but SAS is on, so the vehicle is trying to, there. Okay, there she goes. There she goes. Well, this might work out. Oh, yep. Aerodynamically, she righted herself, so that's good to see. Bladable coating is flaking off, so everything looking good. The problem is I cannot deploy the chutes. This does not look good. I forgot all about that. I can't deploy the chutes. I should have transmitted the science like I even mentioned, and I failed to do so. So we might do this flight again, transmit the science. I do not believe I can then deploy I cannot deploy the chutes, I don't think so. We will have to fly this mission again. I got to remember some lessons learned here. Got to turn SAS off once I am done with the vehicle, and I want it to just free fall by itself, so that way aerodynamic forces, the vehicle doesn't use its internal guidance to try to right itself, because that's why it's not just falling cleanly. But I do not think I can deploy the parachutes, because I think that is a signal that I've got to give. So the lessons learned on this right here, we are definitely going to have to work on our ComNet. That might be for mission 2. We're definitely going to have to work on building some comm satellites, and I think the Mark here, the Mark III, can definitely be a vehicle that can help put some satellites into orbit. So all right, so nope, I cannot deploy, so boom, there we go, vehicle has been lost. So we lost that vehicle, an excellent flight. So now that we know that, we're going to do the flight again. But now we are going to transmit the data. Let's go ahead and go to the tracking station also. We have debris out there. Go. Let's go ahead and terminate that. Can I not terminate this? Or is that because I can't? Interesting. Okay. Maybe it's because I need to upgrade so I can terminate. I think you can terminate, or you can upgrade your buildings, your facilities. Manage. Orbits visible in the map. Okay. Right, interesting. Okay, well, that debris is just going to be splashed down, so the Kerbal Environmental Agency is just going to yell at us for us not following our permit. So, all right, we're going to do that flight again here, and that will probably then conclude mission 1 here of my Kerbal Kareer. We're going to fly this Mark III as she is. We're just going to put her now in a much steeper, or we're going to try to get her to orbit. This is very interesting here. What do we want to do here? I have an idea of what I want to do. So yes, I have an idea of how we're going to recover this vehicle. Yes. All right, so the Mark III, she is going to stay the way she is. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to keep it a surprise as to how I'm going to fly this flight, because we're going to transmit and recover. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to try to recover this Science Junior. So staging is go, throttle is go, SAS is go. We are T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine start and liftoff. Same trajectory here. We are going to fly 100 meters per second before we start our pitch program. Go heading of 090. I rotate my vehicles when I can build them in the VAB. So to me, pitching on my back is 090 degrees. Here we come, 100 meters per second. Starting the pitch program. Thing is looking good. Pitch program continues 200 meters per second. I think I have a contract, don't I? I need to like slow down. All right, so here we go.
passing aerodynamic forces. We're passing transonic, so it's getting a little hard to control as the aerodynamic forces build up. We are now transonic or supersonic. There we go. Alright, we passed through that. I'm going to fly this vehicle here just like this now. Not going to pitch over. That is the surprise now here of our second flight, since we lost the first Mark III vehicle there on re-entry. It was a very successful flight. I'm going to back off the throttle here a little bit. Don't need that much acceleration passing through the upper parts of the atmosphere. Alright, go ahead and get on the velocity vector now that it's switched over to orbit mode on the nav ball. And we have MECO, separation, and staging. So there we go. Alright, so we're going to come into map view. Go. Alright, here we go. We're going to get, still going to go to 275. And 275, engine cutoff. Alright. So here's what we're going to do. We are now going to warp. Here, come out of warp. There we go. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to still take our Science Junior here. We're going to keep it. Now we're going to close the doors. Now for this science goo, we are going to observe this one. Keep it. Log the pressure here up at the, log that one, log the temperature. Keep that one. And now what we're going to do over here though, go. We are now going to transmit the data from over here. So we're going to log the pressure here. So just in case we lose the vehicle again. All right, so very good. So now we've transmitted a lot of data back. We are now at apoapsis. There we go. All right, so now what we are going to do is, you can see we've got a lot of fuel left over. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a pseudo SpaceX return, if you want to call it, return burn, but we're not going to return back to base. We're just going to follow this now in, get into retrograde now. So just let the Mark III here, the Comrade Mark III, named after Admiral Andre, who is a virtual astronaut on YouTube. And so for most of my Kerbal Kareer videos here, there will be a link in the description below. My manned vehicles are named the Manley program, named after Scott Manley, who's also a virtual astronaut on YouTube. So I will leave their descriptions or their links to their YouTube channels in the description below. So make sure you go check them out. All right, so now we are just descending here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this remaining fuel to basically do a re-entry burn. So, all right, so we go ahead and come into 10x warp here. We're going to use this to slow down. We can then deploy the chutes even and then separate. So that is our idea, to get this vehicle to survive. So, all right, coming down in warp here. All right, let's go ahead and come out of warp. There we go. Go ahead and position the vehicle into retrograde. All right, we are now entering the atmosphere. Let's go ahead and bring up our information here. All right, activate the engines. All right. We're in plasma. The vehicle is actually flying on its own now like this. This might... I forgot that we got the plasma blackout. So I really need that engine to run out of fuel. We've got control of the vehicle now, so that's good. There we go. Look at that. But the vehicle is too fast still. Why is it's not slowing down? Can I deploy the drogues? Oh, this is not good. I'm gonna lose another vehicle. Oh my god. I guess I should have slowed down more. This is gonna work. I'm telling you, this is gonna work. All right, so let's go back to the Space Center and do another flight here. Of course, we did get science. Remember, we did get science. I just think that this can work. Just flying it correctly. So we got 73 science. So that was an excellent flight. So let's go ahead and fly that one more time. I'm just thinking that this is going to work. I just need to do that before I go into the plasma blackout, which I have set in the difficulty. If you watch Mission 0, it's one of the reasons why I call that first video of my Kerbal Kareer Mission 0, because I also show the setup of the settings of my career, which is, I think, fairly difficult. So, all right, we are going to fly this again. Of course, we know the flight trajectory now. That's what I want to do. I just need to use that. I just need to slow down before I hit the atmosphere. So, all right, all right, so what do we... Yeah. What I need to do. That's what I need to do. So, all right, staging is go, throttle is go, SAS is go, T-5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and engine start and liftoff. Again, 100 meters per second. We're going to let the aerodynamics build up on the vehicle, so those fins really help do its job, keep us steady, especially for the transonic max Q region. So here we are at 90 meters per second. I want to do 100 and starting the pitch program. Nice night launch here. Alright, pitching over here. Passing through transonic. Max Q. Aerodynamic forces get all that blob of a nose up there. It really affects it. Everything is looking really, really good. We're just gonna fly this. Just like last time, go back to less than 2G. There we are. About 10% fuel left here in the first stage. Alright, like the flight. We know this vehicle is... Uh-oh. Happened. Not really sure what just happened. Here we go. Separation. Oh, gee, what just happened? Somehow I moved up in the... Ooh, did I damage the vehicle? Ooh, I don't know. Not really sure what happened there with my staging. Alright. Going to 275, so obviously you can see, again, a very, very parabolic suborbital trajectory. 275 is the target. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and now warp up. Go. So same thing here. Remember, we did already transmit, but now we're going to try to receive this. So we're going to get to above 250 kilometers here. We're at 240 mark. We get up here, then we'll do all of our science. Coming up on 250. So now we just want a full recovery. That is what we're trying to do here, a full recovery. All right, so let's go ahead now and observe that. Get all the science for that. That's a lot of science. We really need this. Close the doors of there. Let's go ahead now and we are losing some funds because we've lost those vehicles, so we don't get the recovery fees back. So get that. Log this. And let's save that depending on where we then touch down. So now what we need to do is go ahead and warp back down, but we are going to somewhere around 100 kilometers or so. I'm going to go ahead and come out of warp now. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and get the nav ball back up. Go ahead and get this on retrograde. All right, let's go engine start. What we're going to do is we're going to start the burn now. That way we can separate. Get this nice and slow even for re-entry. There we go. Like this much. There we go. All right, let's go ahead now and separate that. We will then have the plasma. Turn SAS off, so the aerodynamics now will control it much better. All right, here we go. Starting to hit thick part of the atmosphere. Aerodynamics seem to be coming into play here. All right, here we go. We are now in aerodynamics are taking over. SAS is off this time, so everything's looking good. We're slowing down. Slowing down. 20 kilometers. We now have control of the vehicle again. There we go. Excellent. That is exactly what we need to do. We lost 2 Mark III vehicles, but we finally figured it out. Got the mission parameters right, the flight parameters correct. Now we can actually recover this vehicle. This is excellent. Get all of this science, pick what we want, and then that will conclude our mission 1 here of my Kerbal Kareer. So passing through 5 kilometers in altitude, we are ready to go with the drogues. 4.5 kilometers, 4 kilometers. At 1 kilometer, we'll deploy the drogues. Then at about 400 or so, 250, something like that, we'll deploy the mains. 2 kilometers, still descending. Man, all that science we got, this is going to be excellent. We are going to be able to probably really pick. All right, let's go ahead and deploy the drogues. Drogues are out. We are slowing down nicely. Mains are coming out. We are under the chute, looking good. Here we go. Also maybe squeeze a little bit of science left in those, in that thermometer and barometer and that leftover science goo we got. So there we go. Mark III, successful flight and splashdown. Let's go ahead and see what we can get out of this here. Yeah, we can get a little more. I think we've already done these, right? Yes, we have, but I'm going to go ahead and just record them just to make sure. Yep. There we go. Successful flight. Of the Mark III. The Comrade Mark III was very successful there. Took us 2 flights, but the vehicle was very successful. It was just we need to figure out how to do the trajectory and the mission profile for re-entry. So we did that. Look at that. 50, almost 59 science. So let's, before we leave here, mission 1, let's go ahead and look to see what we want to get now. See, now we can start to move here. See, ooh, there it is, our small engines. That's what we want right there. That propulsion system, I'm sure that's what we want. I don't think there's really... We can eventually get there too. We'll probably do maybe even general construction. Don't need that, don't want that. Yeah, definitely. That's big fuel systems, little engines. Yeah, this is definitely what we want. So we are going to buy that. We are then going to buy the Spark. And Spark and the Ant. And Baguette and the Oscar B. Really don't need the monopropellant yet because these all take liquid fuel. So, and I don't have any RCS yet unlocked. I don't even know, there it is right down here under advanced flight control because I don't even have that. So there's my first, so there's no reason yet to get that. That's for human. That's for the Manley vehicles. So I'm not doing that. We could get this because eventually that's where also we're pushing toward, is right here. We can get that nose cone. So we are probably going to get this. We also then get the struts, and so that's good. So let's go ahead and... Oh, I need 40. Look at that. Just not quite enough science. I have 42.4. Dang, that's so close. But it was an excellent mission 1 here of my Kerbal Kareer. So next time we'll probably start to design the Mark IV. Let's go ahead and just see what we've got here. So we've got some smaller engines now. Lighter fuel tank, so we can definitely make some smaller vehicles now, because now see we've got this, but now see now we've got little fuel tank, bigger tank, so we can actually replace this. So let's go ahead and do that before we leave tonight. So 1, 2, so 1. So it looks like then, because this is how many of these? 2. So we can 1. So we need to put 3 of these on. Take these pieces off. Put them over there. Take all of this off. That on there. That on there. Put that on there. Put that on there again. Get this. Cycle it to 3. Put the fins back on, because now that gets us, saves us some components. See, so now we've got 3 extra components here. So I'm going to save this. This is going to be now the upgraded Mark III, just with different fuel tanks. Still a Mark III, we just got different fuel tanks now. So, but the next time is we will then have to experiment then with the Mark IV here. An excellent vehicle for some high altitude, some high apoapsis ballistic flights. But now we're going to need to press to orbit, because this time we just pressed to space, but then we're going to have to press to orbit. Now that we've got some of these smaller engines here, this is really, really good. We could probably make some lighter satellite vehicles. for the Mark IV. So that's really, really good. So what else did we get? Any couplings? No. No. Battery. Got solar panels for extended flights, but we don't need that right now. Good. More science? No. Utility? No. Everything's looking good. We really don't need lights yet. That we just don't need the weight. So there is the new Mark III. So let's go ahead and make sure we save that. Let's go ahead and return to the Space Center, and this will conclude then mission 1 of my Kerbal Kareer. Very good. Let's go ahead and save the game. Let's go ahead and save this. This is now mission 1. Mission 1, we are now saving it. Very good. So that will then conclude mission 1 of Kerbal Kareer. So an excellent mission. We lost some vehicles on re-entry, but we finally learned, we educated ourselves about how we needed to control the vehicle when we need to do burns on that re-entry. So in mission 2 here, we will then be definitely pressing for orbit. So we've got plenty of science and plenty of funds, and I think now we have the components to build some smaller vehicles to press for orbit. So this was mission 1 of my Kerbal Kareer. So thumbs up because you're amazing, subscribe, and chime that bell to get notified. I am Uncle Mike.